Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Isaiah chapter 24, verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. And when we go into that word languisheth in the Strongs, it's H535, amal, which reads to be weak, to droop, to languish, to be exhausted, to be weak, to be or grow feeble. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty or the proud people of the earth do languish. And all you got to do is look around you to see that this planet and the people and animals and life on it has been languishing. Lands get strip mined for their resources. Animals go extinct. You've got GMO foods and cell and Wi-Fi radiation messing people up. You've got pollution in the ocean causing marine life to beach themselves. The list goes on and on. And why is that? As it's about to say in verse 5, the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. This planet is languishing because it's not being governed under the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, which is the only right way to, deal with the environment and deal with how people interact with it and interact with each other. And this has all been under the auspices of the so-called white man, the biblical Edomite, who is currently in control of the planet right now. The wicked, according to the scriptures, the border of wickedness in Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, and the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9 verse 24. And you Edomites were created to do everything clean contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. You're the Most High's sword, and a sword is only used to cause destruction. And you don't only cause destruction between people, you cause destruction to the environment. And that's what I'll be going into with this video. And in this video, I'll be profiling a clip from Redacted's YouTube channel titled Dead Whales, But How? And in this clip, it's going to go into how these solar farms, these wind farms and turbines being created for the so-called green initiative to better the environment is actually making the environment out here worse and causing a lot of whales to die off. Even when you Edomites try to do, so-called good, it only leads to more death and destruction. And that's again because you're the sword of the Most High. You're the wicked of the scriptures. And besides, wind turbines, just look at the electrical cars. They say that that's better for the environment. But look at those cobalt farms that they use to get those batteries. It destroys the environments to get those out of the land. And it also kills, many people who have to mine in those farms, which a lot of it is children. But now I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. Hey, just to further show that you Edomites, when you were set up in power, were never going to bring peace, tranquility or prosperity, but misery, death, and destruction. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red. And in the scriptures, horses can be symbolic for power. Just think of a car. What does it have? Which determines how fast it goes. It's horsepower. And you Edomites are red. You're not so-called white. You lack melanin in your skin. You're clean lepers. Hence, your blood shoots forth through your skin. Hey, when you get embarrassed or blushed or angry, era, and they've got that term, what? Redneck. And when you go to Genesis chapter 25, it says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. To what? Transgress the laws, change the ordinances, and break the everlasting covenants. Govern this planet clean contrary to the ways of righteousness, governing it after the ways of wickedness. And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when you go to Genesis chapter 27, one of Esau's blessings to gain the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven, what the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, was the sword. And that sword can go into many things, literal weapons of war, swords, which you used in the ancient world, guns, tanks, fighter jets, ultimately that nuclear weapon, or your policies, these so-called green initiatives, these, different inventions you come up with, the so-called save the environment, when they really make the environment worse. And your tongue, what do they say? The pen is mightier than the sword. You Edomites, lie about everything out here and use newspeak and speak with a double tongue to push forward your agendas, to make it sound like feminism is a good idea because it what gives women's rights. Democracy is a good idea because it allows everybody to have a voice. Equality is just a great idea so what the alphabet people can feel needful or wanted in society. But when we look at the end results of all these different things, what do we have? Whores running around, single parent households, broken families, people into sexual degeneracy, and just a bunch of narcissistic, selfish, dog-eat-dog people out here. So everything you Edomites do just completely makes the situation worse out here. Now I'm going to go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 2. That ye be not soon, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that happened, mainly after 70 AD, when the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel, or you so-called Negroes, you so-called African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans or West Indians, were pushed out of the land when the Romans surrounded Jerusalem and besieged it. And then a lot of our people from the southern kingdom fled into the west coast of Africa and, became Muslims or Moors and a bunch of other, religions and ideas out there. And you had a lot of our people from the southern kingdom fleeing to Europe, which is where your knights and your kings and your queens, which they like to show as Edomite, a so-called white history, which is actually Israelite history. That happened. And then you had the northern kingdom, which long before then went into the Assyrian captivity. And then they eventually fled to the Americas and, became these different Native American tribes, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Cherokees, the Choctaws, the Seminole Indians, the land of Arsareth in 2 Esdras chapter 13. So that falling away from our identity as the Israelites took place. And then, as it's about to say, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And when we go into that word perdition, it means G684, apolia, destroying, utter destruction of vessels, a perishing, ruin, destruction. And a vessel can be a literal physical instrument, or it can be a body. A body is a vessel. Ruin or loss, destruction, perish, a waste, a languishing. Like it said, the earth languisheth under the haughty people, the proud people, the inhabitants thereof, because they had broken the everlasting covenant, change the ordinances and don't obey the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. So this son of perdition is again the wicked, the biblical Edomites, the man of sin. And according to the scriptures, sin is the transgression of the law, and this whole society is built off of the transgressions of the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Verse 4, which just further proves that this is speaking of you Edomites, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. You push the hypothesis of evolution out there. You want to make the world believe that the Bible is a fairy tale book and that the scientific method is the way to go, that we live in a godless world, and that it's a world of apex predators and the strongest surviving, which, since the Most High gave that sword to be your blessing and you're in power right now, if people don't believe in a higher power and they see you in this lofty position you're in right now, what would they naturally assume? Oh, this must be the God of the world, which is exactly what you want. You Edomites have that God complex. You're megalomaniacs. And also, let's look at Noah Yuval Harari, K. Tissue Schwab's right-hand man. What did he say? With the world we're coming into, through what, the fourth industrial revolution, merging man with machine, we no longer need the Hebrew God. Where man is going to become God. We're going to be able to control the environment and the ways of life through science, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, shewing himself that he is the Most High. And hey, with your track record, Esau, you're showing that you're a god or a power of destruction. Everything you touch doesn't turn to gold, it turns to shit, waste, and rot. And if you Edomites were allowed to rule indefinitely, this planet would be turned into a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. But there is a silver lining, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Again, if the Most High didn't set up bounds which you Edomites could not pass, and you were allowed to rule indefinitely, this planet would be an uninhabitable, desolate wasteland. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. The Most High has set up bounds which you cannot pass, which you've just about reached. Hence, why your rulership and your power is slipping globally. And the Most High has also shortened the days for the elect's sake to just bring about your downfall that much more quickly, which I believe it was either earlier this year, at the end of last year, your so-called scientists have come out and said that days are literally getting shorter. So without further ado, let's get back to that video on Redacted, just to show that you Edomites truly are the man of sin, the son of perdition, that great red horse with that sword taking peace from the earth, causing the earth and the inhabitants thereof to languish, because you do everything clean contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Remember the campaign from the 80s called Save the Whales? Well, environmentalists, they don't say that anymore, because they actually want to pretend that whales are not being killed by green initiatives such as wind farms. But that's not true. Wind farms are killing whales. That is the whole point around.
And these so-called green initiatives are just another way to take away people's rights and freedoms and make more money. Because what are they touted as? As a means to save the environment. But as we're about to see, these different initiatives actually make the environment worse. And best believe that there are ways to do things that don't affect the environment. People talk about how we need to move to electric cars because the oil industry, gasoline, is destroying the environment with cars. But there have been many people out there that have been able to make cars that run on H2O. But when you look into the history of that, an accident just coincidentally happens to take place after they reveal their inventions and they disappear from the face of the earth and everything goes back to business as usual.
A new documentary produced by environmental researcher Michael Schellenberger shows that the government is pretending that wind projects don't kill whales, but they do. Watch this trailer.
1,000%. That is the boat.
Let's bring it to Dead Stop. I saw another whale had washed up. It's becoming a pattern. Is it the windmills? Is it the pounding of the seafloor? How many whales is it going to take?
There aren't many places where the North Atlantic right whale can go. It's destined to extinction.
It sounds like they're like on some pile drive.
This is what the whale is experiencing in another power.
What the
Madness, complete and utter madness.
United States is looking at is thousands of wind turbines in an area that our whales, our dolphins, our marine life, where they live, where they migrate, where they breed.
Hey, in the ancient world, there were no wind turbines or green initiatives. And did you hear about stuff like this happening? Of course not.
It's only when they started going into the wind lease areas that we believe that the whales are dying.
So those red dots are whale deaths.
Precisely.
What a scandal.
With cyber attacks on the rise, protecting
Damn
your data
ad.
security is more important than ever. So why is Congress...
So that's awful. Probably something you didn't know about up until now. But now, actually, Michael Schellenberger is calling this a victory because these wind projects are stalling. Not necessarily because of the whales, but we'll get to that. Danish offshore wind developer Ørsted has scrapped projects to develop wind farms off the coast of New Jersey. They say it's because of higher than expected write-down of its portfolio. This was the Ocean Wind 1 and 2 projects that would have put more than 200
off the North American coast. And what was that? A Danish company, all Edomite, controlled entities, showing that it's nobody else but you Edomites behind these destructive practices. And then if you want to say, well, what about the Chinese with the coal, or India, getting a lot of natural gas or shit like that, go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 10. As the ruler and the king of the people is, so are the people. Everybody in between, Jacob and Esau, the other nations, are just followers. Whoever's in power, that's who they follow. So with you Edomites in power, they're replicating and following your practices because they see you're the one in control. So they think that they can get in the same lofty positions, which is just further ruining the environment. But when the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are ruling in the kingdom of heaven, the heathens are going to follow after the laws, statutes, and commandments, which is what? Going to benefit the environment. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
Look at these. Can we leave that up just a little bit? Look how massive that is. 200 of them in the ocean, just 15 miles away from the New Jersey shore. Now, the company, I don't want to say like, oh my God, that in the ocean, because I have seen in person oil and gas rigs in the North Sea off the coast of Norway. So I know that things like that exist in the ocean. But at the same time, these are wind farms that you heard, they produce a lot of noise. They produce a lot of confusion for these whales. Now, the company is saying, well, it's a supply chain issue and high interest rates. That's what tanked the project. The CEO said, well, he's really disappointed because we firmly believe the U.S. needs offshore wind to achieve its carbon emissions reduction ambition. Okay, but do those numbers work out? Does offshore wind really promise?
And just think about it like this. They're talking about carbon emission reductions, but aren't we carbon-based life forms? Hey, another example that sword of Esau's, remember, his tongue, the pen is mightier than the sword, making things sound a particular type of way to push an agenda.
That it will replace current gas and have less of a planetary impact, a lower carbon output. Well, let's pretend for a second that we think that it's okay to kill whales and disrupt this environment if it means a reduction in carbon emissions. Just let's think about for a second, does the math work out? Well, according to Michael Schellenberger, it does not. Take a look at this from his book, Apocalypse Never. He says various studies have shown that the cost of integrating unreliable wind energy is high and rises as more wind is added to the system. For example, in Germany, when wind is 20% of electricity, its cost to the grid rises 60%. When wind is 40%, the cost rises 100%. Why would that be? Because of all the power plants, often natural gas, that must be standing by and ready to fire up the moment wind dies down, which that's how wind works.
So much for an alternative source. If those wind turbines aren't able to operate and generate a sufficient amount of energy because there's low wind levels, they've got natural gas power plants waiting in the wings to power them. But doesn't that defeat the purpose? Weren't those wind turbines supposed to get rid of oil and natural gas facilities to generate energy?
He says the extra power lines that have to be built to remote renewable energy locations and all of the extra equipment and personnel required to support fundamentally unreliable and often unpredictable form of energy. Now, what about land-based wind farms? Those certainly don't kill whales, right? They don't, because whales don't live on land. That might be news to you. I hope it's not. But they require deforestation because onshore, I guess we'll call them, wind farms require 450 times more land than natural gas power plants. That's crazy.
Now, wasn't there some big to do about them killing birds?
Oh, I'm going to bring you that about the killing birds.
Okay.
You are onto something.
And besides these wind turbines killing birds, all this cell and Wi-Fi radiation that gets pushed out, it messes up the birds as well. I'm sure, you've seen those clips of birds just dropping out of the sky in mass numbers and dying, or it looks like they're all dive bombing to hit the concrete and kill themselves.
Sir, that's right. There is a lot of evidence of that, and also bat populations. And bats are a really important part of an ecosystem. So if bats can't kill predators, then everything falls apart. It's mayhem. Look at what Schellenberger.
This is what you get when you don't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. You take one piece out of the environment and it throws the whole, system into haywire.
Says about that. Wind energy threatens birds, including golden and bald eagles, burrowing owls, red-tailed hawks, Swainson hawks. I don't know if any of these have racist bird names. We're going to get to them later, so just hold on to that when we talk about racist birds. But you see the list here, right? The expansion of wind turbines has particularly harmed the golden eagle in the western United States, where its population is already at a very low level. Now, look what the wind industry says about it. It's not us. It's actually, they say house cats kill more birds than wind turbines. House cats are a bigger problem. But whereas cats mainly... Go ahead.
They're not combining those numbers? Like, if we have the wind farms, then it kills twice as many, or, almost like a third of as many. Like, we have to eliminate cats now so that it balances itself out?
Right. Cats are a part of the ecosystem, whereas wind farms are not, right?
Exactly.
Go ahead, Philip. Were you going to say something about that? Come to the defense
No,
of
I
cats?
That's just kind of funny. Yeah, because I'm just thinking about, like how many house cats pull down an eagle. And that's just not really happening.
No, I haven't seen it. I have not seen that happen. Right. And actually, he points out here, cats are killing small, common birds like sparrows, robins, and jays. Wind turbines kill big, threatened, and slow to reproduce species like hawks, eagles, owls, and condors. Plus, a lot of times the cats eat them, or it becomes a part of this ecosystem in a different way. Whereas if they're just it's awful. He talks about here rapidly spinning blades act like an apex predator that birds never evolved to deal with. So, they've evolved over hundreds of years, this person says, to fly certain patterns to migrate. You can't throw up a turbine and expect them to adapt. It's not happening. So they're basically like getting sliced in the air. That's awful, right? We know that small birds are victims to mice. We know that is part of the ecosystem, but adding these new blades that are hurting them is not a part of our ecosystem. So get the heck out of here with your ideas of wind as a good energy alternative, a good renewable. It's not. In September, back to the whales, a whale named was the 71st whale to die this year. She died near an Orsted site in Rhode Island. That's a bad optic. If you're Orsted, I don't think you would like that. Here's what Michael Schellenberger said about it.
Hey, there's a perfect image of Esau Edom's rulership right now. Something he's created in the environment, killing the environment.
This is not normal. Death of whales have spiked since 2017, and the only significant change in this period has been the introduction of high decibel sonar and new boat traffic in previously untrafficked areas. This is the biggest environmental scandal in the world. At this rate, the U.S. government and the wind industry are going to make the North Atlantic right whale extinct. The government has corrupted and are covered up the science. Congress must investigate. So you can investigate for yourself by watching the new documentary that I told you about from Michael Schellenberger. It's called Thrown to the Wind. You can find it on Twitter and other places. And I suggest you do, because we live in a world now where environmentalists are the ones saying kill the whales, and the so-called climate change deniers are the ones that want to save the whales.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here.
Point blank period. Hey, the man of sin, the son of perdition or utter destruction, causing the earth to languish under his wicked rule, contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. But again, hey, you Edomites have just about reached those bounds which you cannot pass. And once you're finally taken out of power, you're going to go into your rightful position, being slaves under the children of Israel, building up the kingdom of heaven, helping and cleaning up this mess you created. Now let's get back into these precepts. This is Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 5. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked, the border of wickedness, the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, chemtrails in the sky, cell phone and Wi-Fi radiation, pollution in the ocean, electric cars with their toxic batteries, wind turbines destroying whales and the environment. He that ruled the nations in anger. Also, these nations that are rich in resources but don't want to play ball with these Edomites, they start a war against them in the name of democracy and bring in women's rights and overthrow that sovereign leader to set up a puppet to allow these Edomites and their countries and their corporations to grape that nation of its resources. Also what? Dropping atomic bombs on people like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Because what? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Once you Edomites are taken out of power, that's the end of your wickedness. And while all the heathens are going to go into slavery for that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, building it up, afterwards, they're going to be allowed to go back to their lands and finally live in peace. Clean air, clean water, clean food, the family structure back in order with the man at the head and the women and the children in order. And if they get out of line, we're going to swiftly execute judgment on them, but they're not going to want to really get out of line because they're going to finally live at peace. But as for you Edomites, after that first 1,000 years, every single Edomite man, woman, and child is going to be gathered up, young and old, and permanently culled from this planet with fire. Read Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18, a Basra bonfire. And as it said, is persecuted and none hindereth, hey, these nations aren't going to have a problem with you Edomites, finally being, excised from this plane of existence. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Trees that aren't meant to be cut down, that benefit the environment, are no longer going to be getting cut down in mass numbers to what? Build a strip mall, build wind turbine farms, which further destroy the environment, or just get cut down for fun, like that show Axemen. Even the environment is going to rejoice at you no longer, abusing it and using it. I'm going to close it out in Psalms chapter 96, verses 10 to 13. Say among the heathen that Yahweh reigneth, which is what the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS are doing by going out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this, saying that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai reigneth in this world, and that you heathens, beginning with you Edomites, are going to be taken out of power, and a righteous rulership shall be set up. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously through his children, the Israelites, beginning with the elect, establishing the kingdom of heaven and ruling it through the law, statutes, and commandments. Let the heavens rejoice. Hey, the skies, no more chemtrails being sprayed into them, and even, low orbit space of the second heaven, no more space junk or satellites floating around in there. And let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof. No more pollution or wind turbines or any other instruments or waste out here destroying, the oceanic ecosystem. Let the field be joyful and all that is therein. Animals not getting hunted to extinction, the environment not getting strip mined for its resources. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice. Trees getting cut down in mass numbers to further destroy the environment. Before Yahweh, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness and the people with his truth. And hey, again, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing, because the righteous will finally be back in authority, so the people will rejoice. But the wicked, who cause the people to mourn, will be taken out of power and will never come back into power ever again. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly of the wicked, the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.